What up, bro? Spider Venture Mailer. Today I have the Nerf Elite 2.0 Lock and Load Pack, which is essentially just a redone Shadow. This is the second blaster that Elite 2.0 has done to where it's just a direct reskin of an original blaster. And this time it is the Shadow. They have another one, which is the Spectre, which I will be looking at in the near future. But let's get into this review. Included with the lock and load pack is the stock, the blaster itself, scope, 2 barrel attachments, and 50 darts. Alright, I'm just going to take this stuff off real quick. So, you just get a better look at the blaster itself, which, like I said, if you've already used an Elite Modulus Ghost Observator Shadow, this is the exact same thing. And ironic enough, same performance. So let's start off with the external overview. Up at the front, there is an in-strike barrel lug, and we got 2 options for that. The first one we have is not a new attachment. This actually came with the Storm Charge in another color, but this was originally in a Modulus attachment, and it can just slide on there very, very well. And of course, the whole theme with this is you can go a few different styles. And of course, we do have another barrel attachment, which has an in-strike rail. 2 of them, actually. This one actually is new. This was supposed to come out with the Modulus expansion packs. This was originally going to be a foregrip light, but knowing Hasbro, they cheaped out because there's no light. There's literally no light. And no, it's funny. There's literally a battery door right here. Like, you can see a cutout for a battery door, like, right there. And it's so weird. And literally the little button in here, that's just a rattling piece because this does nothing. So yeah, great way to cheapen out on those attachments, Hasbro. But they can just go on like this, and it makes for a pretty cool looking blaster. And then, of course, we do have a attachment, which is a scope. And again, this is like the Modulus scope that actually came with the original Modulus. This can just go on to any of the in-strike barrel attachments if you have it the right way to make whatever kind of form you want. So it's got that going for it. Great job, Hasbro. Back behind, we do have the loading port. This is an internal magazine blaster, and this takes up to 6 darts. And to load, you can just get darts and just shove them in there. Shoving darts into this is pretty challenging because there's a breech system that helps to feed the darts to the firing barrel. So it's a little weird to explain. So I can just show you right here. It's harder to load because of this little piece right here. And that can actually go into, now, as we go back to the priming handle, the prime, you do that. The prime strength required is pretty light, but this doesn't shoot very hard. But also, I'm not going to describe it as smooth. And it is cool that it does have a auto retract, which makes it pretty cool. But like I said, it has a breech system that pushes back. And then, of course, once you pull the trigger, it fires. And then you can just repeat that over and over again. And if that sounds a little weird to you, it's because of this weird internal system that they have in here, because it works like a 2-stage feel. I don't know how to explain it. WebWord JP explained it, but pretty much you pull the trigger and it feels like it does 2 actions. Like, it feels like it releases, but then the breech slams forward. So yeah. On this side, we do have 2 tactical rails. So, you know, if you just want to pull off, like take off your belt and just pull off a gangster moment like you're someone from the hood, or if you want to go Omega Gangster style, but with 2 scopes, you can totally do that. But they work just like regular, and you even have a scope down here. So if you actually want to go even farther to actually have it completely obstructed, you can totally do that as well. But not bad. Now back to the trigger. The trigger pull is a pretty clean break. This blaster does not have slam fire. And now down to the grip. The grip overall is pretty comfy, and it has a nice little finger troil where actually originally a rev switch would have been, because the original theme for the Ghost Ops Shadow is had a rev trigger like button down here so that you could illuminate the blaster. But now that just leads to a pretty nice finger troil. Not really too much to go on there. And the grip overall is actually pretty comfy. It's pretty big, and even with this down here, it's a pretty wide grip, so you're not really feeling constricted to go down here. And then we do have a sling attachment point. And then now that back here, we do have an in-strike stock attachment point. And again, the whole theme with this is has a whole bunch of modulus attachments. This is literally a regulator stock, which is my personal favorite stock. And one complaint I do have is it's a little wobbly on here. It's not like wobbly to the point to where it's like the prime weight bends it. It's just you could feel it's wobbly because it doesn't really feel like it fits. But it's a good stock overall. But I find it funny. This stock can hold a magazine. Yeah, it's an internal mag-fed blaster. Great choice with that stock, Hasbro, but thank you for bringing back my favorite stock. Well, that is an external overview of the Elite 2.0 Shadow, or the lock and load pack. Now let's show you this thing firing. Starting off with the included Elite darts. Now going without the attachments. Now for some waffle head darts. Well, overall, this thing was fun to shoot. Like I said, it's not really the greatest performer. Sorry for my tone. It's gonna kind of go into my opinion towards the end, and you'll see why. So, pretty low firing average at about 54 to my memory. Like I said, if you want, go watch Coop's review. He definitely had about this a different experience, because apparently for him this kept jamming a lot. Mine was actually different, but overall, I guess it's a good. That's the objective information I have. Now to my personal opinion. Okay, this is where it's going to get mixed. Very, very mixed. So, I think it's cool that Nerf is bringing back some of their old blaster designs because, well, to be honest, like the Shadow was a pretty cool looking blaster, but a lot of people didn't like it because it was just a glorified pistol. Now, the attachments that they have, this is really cool, but this is honestly kind of where I'm going to break my opinion and say it's good because, for one, this attachment, it's cool. It's really cool they brought this, but there's nothing to it. And the fact they have literally the mold for a light, it's jank. And now, actually, to the deal breaker for me, this is the second one I had to buy. Stock footage will show what happened to my original one, but pretty much the breech that pulls back and is supposed to stay back for the dart, it really wouldn't stay back. Apparently I heard this might be a problem, but pretty much it's supposed to stay back, but when I would prime it, it would return back. It would still fire, but it would stay back. So I tried opening it to see what was wrong with it, and that actually caused me to get a new one because, so one, I'm not that very well inclined to take apart blasters, but I learned enough to where the point to where it's like I want to see what happened. So not only was the track slipped off, but when I tried taking this thing apart, I couldn't get it to take apart. So here's what happened. You can't take apart this blaster, but these priming bars here, these pretty much, this is two separate pieces. but these two are literally screwed into the shell to the point to where ripping it apart means you have to take apart this tiny little clip that holds it together, but even with that, the priming handles are attached to the shell to the point to where there's a little rim that is on the screws to the point to where I couldn't take this apart. I had to legit grab it like this and rip it apart. And in doing so, that really shifted everything to the point to where I couldn't put this thing back together. So that's why my opinion is a little bit low on this one, because honestly, I'm a little disappointed with it. But the one I have before me now has not broken yet, and I'm very thankful for that, because if this one breaks, I'm taking it straight back to the store, not even trying to finish it, because that was $40 spent. Now, granted, that was on Black Friday, but here's the thing: it's still $20. Spent $40. And as my good pal on his phone over here says, we didn't really get much of a Black Friday sale. This kind of showed it. I don't know if this is still available in Walmart right now, but like I said, the one I have before me works pretty well, but it's not really the best performer. So I guess now to the question, to buy or not to buy. If you're a performance gained Nerfer, I really wouldn't recommend this. This is really just for like target shooting, because this is a really slow to load blaster, especially a 6-shot primary isn't really good. The attachments, though, I have a much better opinion. Like I said, this is one of my favorite stocks that I'm glad Nerf brought back, and especially in my favorite color. So you can put this onto your Nerf Elite 2.0 blasters and make it match pretty well. And also one of my favorite scopes. I'm really glad they brought this back, so I can attach that to more of my blasters. And I've always been fond of this barrel attachment. It's always been a fun one, very low profile and very nice, even though the inner diameter is pretty wide. This, however, for its intended purposes, I wouldn't recommend it, because it was originally supposed to be a light. Now it's just a pretty comfy foregrip, but even with this blaster, it doesn't really fit on well, just because it's a pretty weak attachment point. So not the best opinion on these. These, however, are really good. And on the blaster itself, it's okay. Like, it's not a terrible buy. It's at least not Warden level bad. But I'm hoping that it stays that way. But thank you guys so much for checking out my video. Like I said, I'm a little bit hesitant with this one, and I would really recommend this. If yours does break, be inclined if you are okay with opening up your blaster and fixing it, because otherwise you're going to waste about $40 on this. But thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Much love. Blast on, and stay tactical.